Oh God!
Happy last.
Wow, look at you.
Yep. We got
It's nice.
fireworks coming.
It seems like it's more on your side than mine. Okay.
I try to bring a little flavor and pizzazz, and he's still riding the yours is bigger than mine. More fireworks on your side.
I'm a big fan of joke callbacks, you know?
Oh man. So yeah, that's what I did this morning. Is I figured out how to get that rigged up because what else
Good.
could I be doing today?
I spent $1,400 on a plug-in so I could have a virtual on a podcast that is listened to more than watched.
It was only 1,200, but for those who are on the audio, I CGI'd in some fireworks there, so we can do
That was
that.
nice. That was up to the level of the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I mean it was good. I mean, look at this
It's
thing.
even got the little thing comes up. Yeah.
It's so we're moving on up in the world or something like that.
Yeah.
So, big news du jour is that Microsoft announced that they're refreshing the start menu, and that'll arrive sometime in about a year. And
That's the thing. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing.
yeah,
I just wrote about. I just wrote this story about that. Like, I know we're all looking for some good news here, right? I mean, it's been a tough couple of weeks.
it has been.
This start menu is it is not that good news. It's like Brad said. By the way, that's the earliest it could appear. It's worth noting that it could pull a sets and never appear, but yeah, it's also I don't want to ruin the whole story, but I mean what this reminds me of a little bit is Windows Mobile 6.5, where
Hold on. I'm gonna. Is this the one where they put like the honeycomb outlines?
Yeah, that's right.
That was it. Wow.
Yep. So the thing is, because the iPhone had happened, they're like, oh crap, we got to do something. And that Windows Mobile, which went from Windows CE to Pocket PC and all the other names it had, was designed for like the little stylus system. So the UI, like the file manager and all that stuff, you kind of pinpricked it to get stuff to happen. You couldn't dumb finger it. It was the UI controls were all too small. So what they did with 6.5 was they replaced the home screen and the lock screen with new versions. By the way, the lock screen was actually innovative. So as your apps generated notifications, they would appear in a column. And if you depending on where you swiped, it would open that app. So if you wanted to, if you got an email notification in among the other ones, you would swipe on the email and it would go to the email. Like that was, we still don't have that today in anything. But the thing you remember, the honeycomb, honeycomb's a good term. That's exactly what it was. So you could make the argument first version of Tiles in some ways. They didn't want to do the exact same thing as Apple, so they, the interlocking tile, whatever they were. But it was just a surface level thing, right? So all that was a pretty face on top of the same dumb system from before. That release was way more momentous than the start menu update because literally there's no new functionality, and the change is the subtlest, smallest thing. I mean, it is.
It's really just getting rid of the color and the live tile and just replacing it with the theme color for the most part.
No, you're right, and it's. I mean, I was writing my article and installing it on this other computer, and when it finally came up, I saw it and I was like, "Oh, did I not get it?" And then I compared it to the start menu on this computer, which is on 2004, and oh no, it is different. I mean, I could barely. I spend my life working on this. This is. I write a book about this. Like, I was like, is this? Couldn't tell.
So my only hope here, not my only hope. My hope here is, to your point, this is 8 months earliest probably away. Somewhere between 8 and 10 months, something like that. Is that this is step one of the complete UI cohesion?
This is where I leave the article. I say this is a small step, but it is a step. It is a step. It's a step in the right direction. Actually, I'll tell you what. I will inject a bit of hope that I did not put in that article. Yeah, new hope. This is in the what do we call it now? The dev channel, right? And as the post says, right up front, it's not tied to any version of Windows 10. Like, we don't, This is a small change, Brad. Like, this is a small change. This is as small of a change as changing the icons for apps. Like, they roll those out kind of willy-nilly, around. I'm going to make the argument here that this could appear in 20H2. This is not a big deal. Like, this is so small of a change that if they wanted to, they could surprise the world and be like, see, we can do stuff fast. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But think about it. There's no reason. I mean, why? What's the big deal?
They could push it tomorrow if they really.
So look
want
at me seeing the other, silver lining. I'm not going to commit it to writing because
you're not that bullish on it.
I'm not that stupid.
So, anyways, the other sort of updates that were in there that I think we knew were coming is Walking Cat or somebody leaked it, but you'll be able to Alt Tab now between tabs, which is kind of hard to write. Alt Tab between tabs and IE or IE and Edge, whatever browser they're calling it.
Internet Edge.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
So I was curious because I could see this going both ways. In one hand, like it's really convenient that you can just Alt Tab through them. On the other hand, I'm also hoping you can potentially turn it off.
So we got a comment from our buddy. I don't want to mispronounce his name, but the guy from the Edge team jumped in to say, and I need to go look this up now. I can't find it because I'm still partially through comments, but I could just go to the article. But what he said was there is a new option in settings not to turn it off, unfortunately, but to restrict the number of tabs that you'll see in that Alt Tab menu.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's okay. I mean, that's not. I think the way this should work is the first time you do it, it should come up with a thing that says, "Hey, by default, this is how it's set. This is new and different," and give you the option there to go someplace where you can turn it off. Like I really feel like this is a mistake. Because this is not the way the world works, and this is a big change.
It is a pretty big change. I agree with that, but it should definitely have. Well, I think we both agree an on-off switch. Like they have to be putting towards. That.
Yeah, let me just tell you what he says. Sorry, the guy from the Edge team, William. He says, of course, we know this isn't for everyone, so we added a Windows setting under System Multitasking where you can limit the number of tabs in Alt Tab to just the last 3 or 5, or turn off tabs completely.
There we go. Yep, bada bing, bada boom.
Yep, perfect.
There we go. So they're good.
Yeah, at least you can turn it off. Yep.
Good job. So that's coming, but again, somewhere between 8 and 10 months, or maybe earlier. I don't know. Is that? I'm guessing that's tied to Windows and not so much Edge, because Edge they ship every 6 weeks or something like that.
Right. No, yeah, that's a Windows feature. Yeah, because it's it's the shell. So. Yeah, that's a curious change. I don't like that. I think a lot of people just have 20 tabs open, without thinking about it.
We'll find out.
Mess would that be? I'm just like I have 5 windows open right now.
Yeah. I think I might like it. I can't. It's gonna be one of those things I can't decide if I'm gonna like it until I'm like really kind of immersed in it.
I'll look at this later. Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet, so I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah. See the challenge potentially here could be is that I do a lot of alt tabbing between Edge and say Word, for example.
Yep. Yeah, so this would let you go right to a particular tab.
Which is fine, I guess, but
well, I just devil's advocate once again, seeing the positive things. It's my new way of doing things.
Oh, is this your fiscal year 21?
This is my 4th of July resolution. I'm going to be more patriotic. Well, as we use more and more web apps, I mean, you can kind of make the argument. Like I wrote a thing, and I'm still using it this way, where I pin tabs in Edge that I use a lot: Gmail, Google Calendar, and Twitter. And yeah, I mean, if you accept that those are like apps, which they are, and I might want to switch. It is kind of goofy, I guess, having 2 different things to cycle through, because I could sit here and alt tab to get to the browser, and then control tab to get to each of those. And I just abhor change, Brad. I think is what I'm trying to say. I fear change.
Yeah. Well, according to Microsoft, nobody uses alt tab. I'm sure, I don't know if that's increased or not, but I remember at one point they told us that's why they put the button on the taskbars, because nobody used alt tab. And so
yes, yeah, oh yeah. No, and That's a good point. I mean, I make the argument in my book, and I'm sure I wrote it on the site at some point with Windows 10, like those three things that are sitting down there. I guess now four, whatever number it is. So you get a search bar, you get the task view, which is technically like Windows tab, right? When you think about it. It also brings up the interface for virtual desktops and timeline. And then you get a Cortana button, which is now separate from those, right? So I guess three things. Like they're just taking up space. Mm-hmm. Every one of those things you can get to without needing that UI, right? Every one of them. And once you know that, you can get rid of those things and save space. And I like that. But I also agree that it's important that they be there because otherwise people might not know about them, Mm-hmm. What Windows doesn't do is after you use it a few times, say, hey, you don't need this button here. You can type, Windows tab or whatever. Do you want to just use that instead? It doesn't do smart stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd turn all that stuff off. First thing I do on every PC because it doesn't sync. So I have to do it on every every PC.
By the way, you've raised another important issue. the stupidity of setting sync in Windows and how incomplete and unknowable it is. Like what syncs? I don't know.
The Titanic does.
Very good.
So, anyways, there was also because Microsoft felt to push every single update on the whatever it had to have been tied to fiscal year. So, July 1st, Microsoft announced every single update that's probably coming for the next 6 years to OneDrive, including massive file update or uploads, 15 to 100 gigs, dark mode coming to the web, and just a whole bunch of other
lots of good stuff there. But I guess I must have talked about this in Windows Weekly. I'm going to give these guys some credit here because one of the big complaints people have had about Microsoft 365 this year is they'll announce these new features like they did for consumers back in March, but then they don't really say when they're coming.
Yeah.
And if you go and look at this post, for every single one of those features, they gave some timeline. Sometimes it was vague. That file upload feature or change is effective immediately, for example. Like that's nice because a lot of times if you don't pay attention, you could write something like a bunch of new features are now available in OneDrive, and it's like, actually no. Some will be later this summer, some will be whenever, but they actually called it out for each one. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. So that's kind of it. Tomorrow's a holiday here in America. That's why we got the fireworks.
Yeah. Are you still going to do your podcast thing in the morning? Do you still do that? Or are you
I don't know if I'm doing it today or tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I was thinking about I probably just keep doing I guess I'll just do the normal thing for Aspal. I don't know.
I mean, what is he going to do? You going to go somewhere, Paul? You going to go out to the restaurants, the bars? There's nothing else to be done. You can go stare at my family some more. You can just sit in a circle.
Just sit there with a glass of scotch and grumble about how much you can't stand them anymore.
I mean, that's about all we do anymore.
It's like they're like, we can hear you. That kind of dark conversation.
I asked my neighbors, like, you guys doing anything for 4th? He goes, yeah, I'm going to drink beer to the background noise of fireworks instead of just silence.
Yep. We're actually going to go try to see some fireworks. We're going to go to a friend's house, and there'll be fireworks.
You don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's bigger than they're going to be for me because they're going to be out in the distance somewhere. I don't know.
Just trying to keep you safe.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm here for you, but not tomorrow.
Yep.